Yo, what's going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today we are back with my F1 2018 career mode, but as you can see by the cutscene, this isn't quite what you're expecting. Now, I've been having a long, hard think about this one, and during my time with Mercedes-Benz, as much as Mercedes is my favourite team and I love driving for them, the career mode videos, in terms of the viewership, they're terrible, is basically the best way of putting it. So I put out a poll this morning, and I said, would you just be okay if I just simulated the rest of the first season, which I have done, and just go ahead and start a new season in Formula 1 with a different team? And it seems like most people agree, in other words, just happy with where I decide to go, and that's what I'm going to do. So as you can see here, I've simulated to the end of the season. I can tell you that I did not win the championship. It was actually Hamilton that won it. And I've taken a good hard think about what team I wanted to go for. And in the end, I decided that this team that I went for is a team that I've never actually driven for in career modes before. So I wanted to give it a go, and I've not seen it anywhere else. And that is Renault. So I'm going to be driving for Renault now for this season. And I'm going ahead and sorting out a contract for myself. And I'm going to put myself as the first driver. Actually, it was quite a good contract from myself there, so I probably could have been a bit more cheeky with my negotiation. But as you can see, I am now officially driving for Renault for the next season. And yeah, as you can see, you'll be able to see this the results. So you can see, as you can see, we had the normal races up towards the Russian Grand Prix when I simulated, and all my simulations was finishing in P6, apart from Mexico, which was P8. So in theory, if you simulate a race, it basically just puts you in the same spot. So Hamilton went ahead and won the World Championship, and I finished second in the championship, which is a good thing, because it means that I still have not yet won a World Drivers' Championship, and it means that in terms of my goals, I've taken the Constructors' Championship. We won that with Mercedes-Benz, that was evidential, but I still need to win the World Drivers' Championship, so there's still something to gain from all of this. And I was just considering starting just a whole brand new career mode, but I decided to just let the regulation change take place and see how the grid lined up. So that's what I wanted to do. And as you can see here, ignore that weather forecast as well, because I actually didn't realize that I was doing 5-lap races to just try and simulate it even quicker, and then I just changed it afterwards. But in qualifying then for this Australian Grand Prix, after starting a fresh new chapter in our career, it actually went horribly wrong. It was obviously something that I didn't expect. We qualified down in P17 and we got knocked out in Q1. We only did one run, and maybe I should have done 2 runs actually. Obviously I'm used to doing 1 run with Mercedes, and now I go ahead and do it here. So finally, something new from Claire. She's asking how we are finding things in our team. And I said, definitely, I'm much happier here, and yet the reputation with Renault went down. So that was really weird. She's saying, you know, how am I finding it here? And I said, I'm much happier at Renault at the moment. I'm really happy, and that was bad. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the first time I've ever experienced this. I've not seen someone change teams somewhere else, and you can see my reputation with Mercedes is through the ground. Yeah, it was quite interesting to see that, and we've got monsoon conditions coming for the race, so this is going to be interesting then.
New drivers, new cars, and a new Formula 1 season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that hosts the first round of a 21-race championship, taking us from here in Melbourne, Australia, across the globe before we eventually reach the season finale at Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. I'm joined today in the commentary box, as I will be throughout this season, by a great racing driver, former F1 competitor, man who was world champion once upon a time as well, and an all-round top chap. It's the one and only Anthony Davidson. And tell me, here we are, first Grand Prix of the season, the first time racing these cars. So what are the big questions that need to be answered here, in your view?
First of all, Crofty, and thanks for the glowing introduction. I just want to say it's a real privilege to be here, and I can't wait to see what this competitive field has in store for us this season. Now, to answer your question, obviously there's the question of performance in race trim, but really this is going to be all about reliability. It's the first Grand Prix of the season, don't forget. You're pushing all your new components to their limits. Formula 1 cars are full of very sophisticated but also very sensitive technology, So the most important thing today is to get to the end of the race, keep everything in good condition, and try to stay out of trouble while you're at it.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen and Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Verstappen, Ocon and Fernando Alonso, Perez, Ericsson, Charles Leclerc and Van Dorn, Gasly, Thomas, Lance Stroll and Sergei Sorokin. Hartley and Roman Grosjean starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright, so we're here on the grid now to start the Australian Grand Prix. And we're going to be on the super soft tyres to start. As you can see, we're going to have dry conditions up to the midway point. Eventually then we're going to have some light rain. And come the end of the race, we're actually going to have monsoon rain weather. So it is literally going to be thunderstorms come the end of this race. So this is going to get very interesting. But we've got 5 red lights then for the start of the Australian Grand Prix. It's a new chapter and it's lights out. Here we go here to start the Australian Grand Prix. It's been a decent getaway from us, but actually it's Sergei Sorokin in the background that gets a fabulous start up towards the first corner. As you can see, we go in towards turn 1 now, and you will actually see as well, I forgot to mention this, that the new update is one of the Toro Rossos there goes off into the gravel trap just behind us. We've got the new update as well for this F1 game, so you'll be able to see the updated nose cone on the McLaren, the updated end plates as well on this Renault car from the front wing and the rear wing. Also some updates for the Force India. The Haas's halo has also changed, as well as the Ferrari mirrors have been adjusted to what they are now. So we've also got the updated cars looks as well. So as we fly now through, we're up, already gaining lots of positions. We're going to have a look down the inside of Perez. Perez, though, just cuts the door there. So we're going to have to wait and find a new opportunity to get past Sergio Perez. And of course, as well, the one reason that I wanted to go with the Renault team is also because of the power unit. My power unit is nowhere near going to be the best anymore. It's going to be probably down as the 3rd best, maybe even slower than Honda. Very, very similar. So, yeah, we've got work to do now as we now press onwards here. And we put the ERS into high now as we start to make our way up the field. We're up to 11th place at the moment already. So that's a fabulous start for us already in this Grand Prix after P7, starting P17. So actually no, it was P16 because Grosjean took a penalty. So we gained 5 places off the start. We had to be a little bit cautious into the first few corners because there's a lot of bumping and barging around. But eventually we made it stick. And now, as you can see, we're attacking Sergio Perez in the Force India. We go down the inside into the second to last corner. Lovely braking move there, but Perez just basically just runs us straight off the track there. So Perez really getting the elbows out, and then we again making more contact. So this is going to be a feisty little battle between myself and Perez. But unfortunately, I've not got the power to actually get past Sergio Perez, and this is why I wanted this Renault car, because now I'm going to have to make my moves very, very efficiently. And when it comes to battling, I'm not just going to breeze past them in a straight line. I've got to work for it, and eventually we get past Perez, and Ericsson also tried to get involved there in the Sauber. He was in the slipstream, and of course that Sauber is still quick in a straight line. So yeah, we've got work to do, especially with the power unit side. But as you can see then, we're coming now through towards the high-speed chicane, but Perez now goes towards the outside. He's going to have another crack at battling us, but we managed to hold that one off there, and we actually slide through the chicane there. Back end comes out on us there, but we managed to hold on to it. And now Sergio Perez is losing time here. He's actually under pressure. Ericsson to the outside, switches to the inside, down the inside on Sergio Perez. Makes a good move there, actually, from Marcus Ericsson. Very aggressive play against Sergio Perez. All fair, though. And as they come in towards the second to last corner now, Perez staying in front of Marcus Ericsson. And now we managed to breeze away off into the distance and build ourselves a little bit of a gap now. You can see we've got a bit of a buffer between myself and Sergio Perez, and that's going to be good. But Ericsson still fighting hard here as the Sauber driver. And now in towards turn 1, Ericsson with the DRS gets past Sergio Perez, and Fernando Alonso is waiting in the wings for an opportunity to attack. And as you can see, we're actually closing up to Ocon in the background there. So obviously, we're also making some moves. I think we actually went down the inside of Ocon there as Sergio Perez has a look at Ericsson. And yeah, we've actually got in front of Ocon. And now I was actually showing the battle between Perez and Ericsson. This is how I got past Esteban Ocon. So Ocon got heavily compromised by Kevin Magnussen through turns 1 and 2. Completely ruined Ocon's line, and that completely hampered him, and that allowed me the opportunity to close up to Ocon. And I went down the inside here, very late braking maneuver, using all areas of the track there, but I actually managed to get a very clean overtake there on the Frenchman, and now we're up into P8 of this Grand Prix. Next up is Kevin Magnussen, who is on the ultra soft tyres. So this isn't going to be as easy now because we're starting to get to the the drivers that are on the ultra soft tyres rather than those that are on the super soft tyres. Now Ocon was on, I think he was on super softs as well. So or he might actually be on the Ultras. I can't quite tell. I think he's on Ultra Soft tyres actually, so it's going to be a bit harder to keep Ocon behind, and with that Mercedes power car in the slipstream as well, this is where it's going to get quite simple for him, and you can see here that Ocon with that straight line speed just comes straight back at us, and again a little bit of more wheel barge in there between the two of us, so looks like we're getting a bit feisty against these Force Indians, but eventually we do hold off Ocon, and we have also got the DRS there to keep us in front for a little bit longer, but again, we're using a lot of rich mixture at the moment. I was actually using a lot of rich, and it just wasn't burning the fuel, so positive signs there indeed. But onto lap 7 of the Grand Prix now. Ocon here with some incredible straight line speed. DRS is open for Esteban, and now in towards turn 3 here, and we managed to stay in front of Ocon. Had to use a lot of the curbing on the outside there just to keep the place stuck. But we've actually got a little bit of a train of cars behind us now. There's a yellow flag in the background there for one of the drivers. Not quite sure who it is, but we're just trying to carry on improving in our race at this moment in time. And now we've got Sergei Sorokin is out of the race, so that's what the yellow flag was for there. And now we've got Esteban Ocon having another little look here, but we're just taking our time, being cautious, and Ocon locks up in towards this corner, and that's compromised Ericsson. That's also hurt Hamilton as well, so Hamilton was one of the drivers that stopped early on. Ericsson hit the wall there as he's trying to get past Esteban Ocon, and now as you can see here, Esteban is under huge pressure now. Hamilton trying to get involved, and Lewis, I think, just decides to be patient on this one and wait another opportunity, and yeah, it's him and Valtteri Bottas that are stuck behind this crew of cars right now, and we're just waiting in the wings, trying to find opportunities. Hamilton now under pressure from Perez. Ocon locks up again, so Ocon might have some sort of a brake issue because he's locking up a lot now in this race, and Hamilton goes down the inside of Esteban Ocon, and he's got the speed to carry that forwards, and now Perez here has to go down the inside of Ocon. Little late braking maneuver there, very similar to what I did against Perez, but Ocon actually pits, so he decides he's had enough of his tyres and is going to come in for a fresh set, and I'm actually staying out because I'm going to try and get to the wet weather period. That's my aim, as Bottas now flies through past Sergio Perez here, as obviously Valtteri has now taken my seat and I've taken Carlos Sainz's seat. I didn't actually have the option to choose if I was teammates with Hülkenberg or Sainz. I simply just negotiated a contract with Renault, and Hülkenberg was placed as an automatic teammate. So just to give you confirmation on that, I didn't pick Hülkenberg. It's just I have no choice. Like, if I was going to, probably would have picked Carlos Sainz, but it's not really that much of a problem. I like Hülkenberg and Sainz, so it's not really a problem for me. But now, as you can see, I'm showing you on board now the Mercedes pairing, blasting their way through the field, and now Hamilton and Bottas have caught up to myself here. And I wanted to let Hamilton and Bottas through. The only problem is they weren't overtaking me when I expected it. I thought they'd just breeze through on the straights. But like here, I don't like that Hamilton's going down the inside, and I don't know, it just felt like it was compromising my lines ever so much and hurting my my race a bit more than it should be. And it's like Bottas here now flying through, trying to find a move, and he's going to try and go around the outside. And again, if he just waited until a longer straight, like, this is for position, so I can defend this one, but I know it's not right to defend it. But at the end of the day, I need to make sure that the likes of Ericsson, and also I think it's one of the Force Indians as well, Sergio Perez, they don't get too close to the point where they can take advantage of my slipstream. That's when it becomes a problem, and Bottas there finally gets past on a straight line where I accept that, and he can carry on through as the rain is now falling in this race. So this is going to get a little bit interesting as Ericsson now is starting to have a little look again at me. He's got some DRS now, and as he goes towards the inside line, he actually locks up there, and that's compromised him heavily there. And Daniel Ricciardo comes on through as Perez now is under pressure from Lance Stroll in the Williams car. So Perez now is having to go defensive as well in the Force India, as up front you can see I'm now under pressure from Ricciardo. I've actually lost a little bit of time with the rain falling down and my tyres already very, very worn. This is now starting to get to a very difficult stage, but as you can see, with the DRS open for both me and Daniel Ricciardo, so I actually managed to stay in the slipstream of Bottas, which was quite intriguing. I managed to swoop around the outside there. I actually went a little bit wide off track there, but I think I lost the position to Ricciardo in the end. No, we're still side by side, but eventually we are going to concede defeat to Daniel Ricciardo, and you can see this time I backed off on the throttle there to let Ricciardo through. And on to lap 10 of the Grand Prix now to come in for a brand new set of tyres. We're going on to the intermediates. It's too wet now for the dry tyres, and obviously I was sliding around like crazy anyway because of course the my tyres were already worn, so it meant that I was already sliding about a little bit on the rear. Then obviously when you have the wet weather that comes down, it makes it that much more slippery. So we're coming in for our stop, and we're going on to set of intermediate tyres. We're going to try and take these to the end of the race, but we need to be careful of what that weather does later on, because if we've got thunderstorm conditions coming in, then it could mean that we need to swap to the full wet tyres. But Obviously, everyone is now pitting for a second time in this Grand Prix, whereas I'm now pitting for just the first time in this race. And that's the big thing. I've taken my super soft tyres to the wet weather periods, and now it's going to be one of the Mercedes cars leading the race. We're currently in P5 at the moment. I've got Magnussen that stayed out on the dry tyres because he couldn't stop, and also Valtteri Bottas that stayed out as well. So technically, we might just be moving to a podium place, and on lap 13, we are in a podium spot. However, we've now got Valtteri Bottas behind us, and this is going to be a fight that is for genuine position. We've got a comfortable gap, but I know that Ericsson is still around. For some reason, Ericsson has got some insane pace in this race, so I don't really want to be fighting too hard, but I'm certainly not going to make it easy for Valtteri Bottas. But he goes towards the inside line, down in the inside here, and that's the move done for Bottas. I hold it around the outside, get better traction on the exit here, so I am going to still try and fight this one if I possibly can, but eventually Bottas once again has the inside line. He's got the move stick, and I decided there's no point in going for it, and eventually then Kimi Raikkonen now is onto the back of us, and he goes down the inside here, and again, just maintaining my pace. Again, Raikkonen goes down the inside, and it's a fight. We're down into P5. There's Ericsson behind, so he's the man that I'm racing really at the moment in this Grand Prix, as Raikkonen gets through. Back end slides out with us for a little bit there, but as we go through towards this final sector, you'll see on the signs now, we've got a safety car that's come out. I'm not sure why it's come out. I don't know what's the reason for it. Everyone on track that I see at the moment is still moving. So, a really random safety car. I don't know, it can't be because of the weather, because it's only intermediate conditions. I have a look and check the weather forecast. Still nothing wrong, so really peculiar stuff at the moment, but we're going to resume racing once again. Visibility is now, well, non-existent, and we get back on it once again. Back end slides out a little bit there as we now increase our power here, get into rich mixture, get into overtake mode on the ERS, and now I've got to build that gap up to Ericsson because he's got a more straight line speed. But nothing actually happened, and on to lap 28 of the Grand Prix. Check out this thunderstorm weather. I'm sorry, but I actually love this thunderstorm weather. Just look at the detail on that. As on lap 29 now, we're getting under pressure from Valtteri Bottas. We pulled away from Marcus Ericsson. Bottas had a drive-through, I think, and now he's trying to get past us, and our tyres are on literally 80% tyre wear on this final lap of the Grand Prix. I've been taking these all the way to the end. Everyone else has stopped again for new tyres. I didn't. I decided to stay out, just go to the end, tiptoe my way around, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. But the conditions are literally horrendous right now here. We're just trying our hardest to get through. Bottas is doing everything to get through. He's literally 3-4 seconds a lap faster at this stage in the race, and he tries to go down the inside. It doesn't work for him there. He has to find a new place to make this move stick. Lewis Hamilton, though, wins the Australian Grand Prix from Daniel Ricciardo, I think it was, and then it's Kimi Raikkonen in third. We tiptoe it around the last corner. Look at the water offline there. You do not want to be going offline, but it's going to be P4 for us in this race. Bottas will just miss out on P4. It is going to be 4th place for us in the Australian Grand Prix. That is a perfect start to a brand new chapter in our career mode, and we couldn't have asked for any more than that. I think the only thing I probably would have done is pitted, because there was a lot of drivers that pitted, but I just felt like they were making the wrong call. It turns out everyone actually made a stop late on, but they went for intermediates. Perhaps if I pitted and went to the full wets, I might have actually been able to have done something, but I didn't want to take the gamble. If I just played my cards right, even if I tiptoed and went full safety car mode, I knew that I was confident to maintain my position, and if I had to brake late into corners, I know that I could do that where necessary. So, yeah, that was kind of a very difficult end to the race. Very action-packed at the start, but eventually then it sort of all panned out and everyone sort of spread out a lot. And yeah, we sort of had to we avoided the second spike of attacks, if that makes any sense, because we obviously got attacked by the front runners who were trying to get past us on this when they were on their new tyres after their first stop. But then obviously when they made their second stop and I would have made my one and only stop, they would have obviously had to try and get past me again, or some of them anyway, and that's when they would have been another scrap. But we didn't have to get to that stage. But from 16th place on the grid, we finished in 4th place, which is absolutely sensational. Verstappen and Sorokin failed to finish the Grand Prix. Vettel has a bad race and finishes behind. Ericsson with a phenomenal Grand Prix, starting in 12th and finishing in P6 there. So lovely result for Marcus Ericsson. Stellar drive from him. And you can see in the Drivers' Championship, it's just how it was. Constructors' Championship, it's Mercedes from Ferrari, from Red Bull, and then from ourselves. We're looking to try and potentially finish in 4th place pretty much in this Constructors' Championship. I'm going to try my hardest, though, to try and beat Red Bull. That's going to be the biggest aim for myself, I think, in this race. Once again, then, in the interviews with Claire, she says, are you missing your old team? and I decided to say, you know, things are much better here. I don't really miss them as much. I'm really happy here, but then again, that decreased the reputation. So it's interesting. Like, these questions are the first time that I'm seeing these questions, so it's like I don't really know how to answer. Whereas before, because everything had come out, I sort of knew roughly how to answer the questions. But in next time, then I should just be more sympathetic. Otherwise, I think Mercedes-Benz will probably kill me because I've literally just said, yeah, I don't really miss them that much. But hey ho, that's what it is. But guys, it's a fresh chapter. It's a new start in my career mode. I'm going to see how this gets on, see if it makes any sort of improvement, and then I'm going to go from there. I just want to say a massive thank you to all those that support me on my videos from start to obviously now, and we still carry on. And until then, guys, I will see you for the next episode. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.